To get Blender, simply go to blender.org and then go to download and click on the button, the one you would like to download based on your operating system. You can also click to here and then select other versions. For macOS, what would be good to point out is you have the Intel and the new Apple Silicon version. So simply select the one you want. If you scroll further down, also here, then you can find actually the versions, those which are currently under development. After you clicked the download button, the software will be downloaded. Windows, you run the installer, and on a Mac, you simply drag it onto the applications folder. Easy peasy. Let's go actually to Blender now. There we are, 3.31. That's the one I have. I will give you a quick understanding of the interface, how to navigate it. But first, let's start with the preferences under Edit. Go to Interface, Resolution Scale. This is where we can adjust the scale. Very good. Add-ons. This is where we can install all the add-ons you can download. If we go to navigation, what is good to turn on is the zoom to mouse position. You see wherever my mouse is, and then if I use the scroll wheel, this is where it zooms to. Key map, we can keep search on. So when I press spacebar, you get the search menu of all the commands we have inside Blender. So, export, for example, you see it finds everything. Under system, based on the operating system and computer you have, you can see different GPU accelerations for your rendering. I am on an M1 Mac, so I turn on the M1 GPU and all that stuff. If you are on an NVIDIA card with CUDA, turn on the CUDA stuff. Definitely click and drag the undo steps to 256 undo steps. Save and load, you can turn on the compress file and then save preferences. That's it. Cool. Okay. Now the interface. We have the main menu. We have here a 3D viewport. We have an outliner. Outliner is basically showing you a list of all the objects we have. You see I can click on all the objects. We have collections, kind of like folders or groups. This is the property panel where all the object properties are shown. So this is, for example, a light. This is a camera. This is just a cube. We have a timeline. Down here, we have borders on which we can click and drag or right click and here say join, right click and swap, or right click, join this one. Okay. So here I have now my outliner. When I go into this border again, say right click and split horizontal and click and go to this selector, I'm bringing back my properties. You see, the software follows one window as an idea, and then we have an interface we can slice into our workspaces. Everything is very modular. You can adjust it to your needs. So inside the 3D viewer, so 3D viewport, and this is where we spend most of the time for modeling, rendering, and all the stuff. So here we have the mode selection, edit mode, object mode. You see the menu adjusts, toolbar, menu. This is for transform orientations and snapping, some overlays for the viewport, wireframe, shaded, material preview, and rendered, for example. Then here's our 3D viewport, view cube. So click and drag, click also on these options, switches to view, quite useful. Then we have the zoom, pan, camera out, and perspective and orthographic. Now, to rotate our view, that's middle mouse button. Shift middle mouse button is pan. And then the scroll wheel is zoom in and zoom out. With the left button, we can click something. I hold Shift, select the camera and the light, X, and say delete. I select the cube. I press N. You see this cube is actually at this position. If I go to move this one up, you see this cube is moved up to this position, 2.7 meters. When I go to a scene here, units, I can switch the display now also to imperial and inches. You can also show this at feet and then have the units separated. So 6 feet, 6.7 inches, or just meters and centimeters. And it's up to you to decide how you want to use this. I will press from here with my mouse there, X and delete. I have this 3D cursor there. This is where an object will be inserted. With the 3D cursor, I can move this around, or I press Shift S, cursor to world origin. Let's go ahead and say add mesh cube. Now I created a new object. Let's go into edit mode. When you see the menu now has changed, now we are actually in Polygon Modeling. Let's zoom in a little bit. We could, by the way, it's also a very good command to use view and then frame selected. It zooms in quite nicely. Now we have point, edge, face select. Point, 2 points, make an edge. Use an edge, edge, edge. 4 edges, make a face. There are face selection. You see? So these are like the building blocks of a polygon. With a face selected, press X and say delete face. Yeah, that face is gone. Let's undo. Control Z. Same on a Mac or PC. If I select an edge, press X and say delete edge. Now you say this edge is gone and now the 2 faces are gone too. If I go to point, select this point, X and select press X and delete the point, the vertex. The 3 edges are gone. The 3 faces are gone. Now, let's rebuild everything. I can go to snapping and vertex. There we are. Then, with point selected, I can press E. E for extrude. I have also all the commands here, but I'm actually using the shortcuts. It's much, much faster. So E for extrude. Now I would like this to go straight up along the Z axis. So I press Z and then I would like this to snap right to the same height. So now I press the control key, turn on snapping and flop. There you see how it snaps to that point. Now I press the left mouse button and then I can release the control key. Very good. Let's go to orthographic. Nice. If I now select with Shift these 4 points, press F, I fill this. I select this again, press F, fill this. I can also select via an edge, 2 edges, fill. I have then a triangle. Now this edge I don't really want, so X, delete edge. I can select opposite. They will also kind of like select then these 2 edges, press F and fill this. Going back to the overlays, right click, remove. I have like this face orientation. So sometimes what can happen, just so you know, that objects are inverted or faces are inverted. You see this is red, this is blue. I can press A to select everything. By the way, AA is actually the opposite. And then mesh normals, calculate outside. Flips it. Or now you saw there was the normals flip that basically then flips the selection. And since I don't all the time want to go to here, now right click, add to quick favorites, and I press Q, the button. I can see this command under my quick favorites. Very nice. Okay. when I select actually a face, so, and then I press E, I'm extruding also the face, and you see the rest comes with it. So undo. When I select an edge and press E, then it just extrudes the edge and basically creates, as you can see, a surface. So based on what is selected, when I select a point and press E, it selects a line. Every time when we do something too, so when I select this face, I see this is actually along Z 100 centimeters from the center. I press E. Upper left corner, you see here where my mouse is, there's a readout. Now I can type in 25 and enter. So I move this up 25 centimeters or inches based on what unit we are running. If you click down here on this triangle, we can even adjust this. Now if I go to rotate, which is R, and press Y, you see how I'm rotating this along the Y-axis. Also here, you see now we can fine-tune this. When I press S and Z, I'm scaling it along the Z-axis or the X-axis or the Y-axis. And then even here I can adjust these things. The reason why I'm showing this is just so you understand we are not like eyeballing things. We can work also with dimensions. We either, if I move this up by 2 centimeters, I can move this while moving this up. Simply type in 2, I'm in centimeters, and enter. If it would be in inches, type in 2 out. It would move this by 2 inches. Easy peasy. Cool. Okay. Let's edit or exit object mode. One thing again, what I also would like to show is we have the center point, X, Y, and Z 0. Oh, well, there's a volume. How could this be? It's just this object center point that is at X, Y, and Z. And then when I do the scale or the rotation, it's kind of like the container that has this geometry inside is being rotated or scaled. And I can always go ahead and fix these things. Now, let's add a material. We can go to Material, New. We can change the material. We don't see anything because we are in shaded mode. Let's go to Material mode. There we are. We can go to Base Color. I click on this yellow dot and say Image, Open. I have here a file. There we are. Open. There's no interesting cube. There are some texture distortions. Don't worry. Basically, what I'm trying to show you here is how the material system also works. I go to here, right click, say Split Horizontal, and then go to Shaded Editor. Now I have this material. I have a material. I have everything that makes this look specular or plastic or rough, etc. And then here is my image, which is replacing the red color. So it's node-based. It's pretty much a common method to work today in literally all visual programs for rendering. So let's go and say save and go to the desktop and call this cube. We'll finish this exercise with a little bit of file management. And I'm going to close this one. There's cube. The way how I suggest to organize is have folders, and then inside these folders you have all your assets. Now when I load this cube, double click the file, there we are, and you see the texture. Let's quit it. I'll make a new folder in here and call this one textures. That's kind of like the way how I work, because then I have references, whatever. In this folder, I put all the textures into. Now, what will happen is, and that's kind of like also the way how InDesign, for example, works. It will not know where's the image. So it's magenta. When I click on this image node, go to properties, drag this out, it tells me this should be, yeah, well, at the same location where the 3D model is. I could now click on here and just then textures and reload it. Okay, now you see now how this is changed. I do not want this to apply, so I'm just quitting and restarting. Now there we are. Or if I have multiple materials, I could go to external data, find missing files, go to textures. Here's actually another folder and it finds all the missing images, for example. There. Mission accomplished. Okay, very good. This is basically all what I wanted to show as a quick introduction for the way how SketchUp works. SketchUp? No, I mean Blender, of course. Wah, wah. It's late, 11:05.